I think what would be valuable for our audience is understanding how to go from that like step one of I'm by myself all the way to the point I've got maybe 100 employees and what the differences are there and how I can really have what I need to know about HR. So let's just start with what are the biggest missing pieces you see from the smaller construction companies when it comes to HR?
Yes, absolutely. So I think having a standard hiring process, as well as the tools and technology to be able to manage that process so that it's not an overhead burden. We know that there is quite a bit of turnover in the construction industry. And so, what can be done to ensure that the time being spent by that person and the organization that is in charge of hiring is best well spent? And that person may wear several hats. They may also be the person that's issuing payroll, the person that's responsible for getting everyone enrolled in their benefits. Oh, by the way, recruiting. Oh, by the way, also performance management. So, how are you making sure that they are able to have the time to interact with the employees, as well as getting all their very critical job roles done? So, what we see a lot in contractors is that it becomes overwhelming. And so we have a modular software. So we have some contractors that start off with us as timekeeping. They are currently using paper timesheets. And there's quite a bit of manual effort to process payroll and decipher everyone's handwriting and get the manager's approval on all those hours, as well as process payroll. And oh, by the way, we just got awarded a new job and we need to hire a handful of additional tradespersons. So, really being able to have the technology to rely upon so that you can, at the click of a button, be able to bring a new hire on and give them the same experience that you gave someone else 2 weeks ago through using that a workflow with technology to deliver all that paperwork that they need to sign, or the employee handbook that they need to sign, or the safety video that they need to do, and making sure that all of those are getting done.
Really quickly, do you provide the workflow or you use their workflow and adapt it to your software?
So it's really configurable. We have best practices. So we have some standard workflows that, we use as a starting point. But then as part of the implementation process, it's really understanding what the contractor is currently doing and what they like about what they're doing and how they want to continue doing it. But then also adapting it. So it's both. It's flexible as well as providing some out of the box best practices.
So I want to kind of walk through what I typically see, and maybe you can point out some of the uh, inefficiencies in the current hiring process. So I just spoke with someone last week, asked them how they're hiring. This guy probably hired. It's fairly seasonal. Um, it slows down quite a bit for 2 months in the winter, but uh, for the most part, hiring 1 to 2 people per month, right? Because there's turnover, because they're growing, because stuff picks up in the summer. So we'll just say on average hiring 1 to 2 people per month. What he does currently, he's got some chat GPT generated job descriptions. He posts those on Indeed, and sometimes he'll make a Facebook post about it. And then they on Indeed will click the apply button, and then he basically gets to look at them on Indeed. It's not really any sort of application, just kind of here's the contact information and a resume, but most of them don't have resumes. He ends up calling them, and if they do well on the phone call for 5 or 10 minutes, they do an interview. Um, let's assume it goes well, they're hired, and then they start the next week or day, whatever it is, and go on the job. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I missed there. Um, they don't get an email, they don't get an account in their software jobber for project management. They get paid through Gusto, is how they do their payroll, and they don't have any benefits like health or anything like that. They do get paid time off after they've worked there for 6 months. They get 1 week vacation. Um, that's it. So well, sure, that is probably effective in getting something done. There's a lot of missing pieces, but also a lot that they're um, a lot of risk in what I just mentioned.
Yes.
So maybe let's start like at that front end job description. Like where can software help here?
Oh, great question. So from a job description standpoint, being able to have something at the ready that you're using over and over again and being able to quickly update it. And so that when you're distributing those job descriptions, you're going wide. So with an applicant tracking system, you're not just logging into Indeed and posting that post. It is distributing those jobs out to multiple job boards. So we distribute out to Glassdoor, LinkedIn, Indeed, of course, and several others, as well as construction specific job boards. Or, for instance, if you're doing a federal job, you need to make sure that you're showing that you're distributing out to a wide net and that you're recruiting from a diverse workforce. So making sure you're recruiting from veterans, making sure you're recruiting from other places that are allowing you to touch base on a wide variety of demographics and firmographics. So that's one thing. And I think primarily from the job description, I would really evaluate from a chat GPT standpoint, how true is that to the work that is actually being done on the job site? So perhaps having stay interviews with some of the employees that have been hired through those job descriptions to simply take 10, 15
Mm.
minutes. How true is this to what you're actually doing on the job site? So that
Can
you
you
can
can
make
you can you
adjustments.
give us a little bit more in depth? What is a stay interview?
Yeah, absolutely. So a stay interview, many of us, if we're able to, will do exit interviews when someone's leaving the organization. Maybe talking to them about their experience, why they're leaving, things that you wish you had known many months before or many days before. So, what a stay interview is, I've heard some HR professionals talk about doing stay interviews 6 months after the hire is on board. Some of them do it with their top performers annually. Really integrating stay interviews can be things where you can understand of all the different things you're providing to your employees, all the things that you think are important, a turkey at Thanksgiving, certain benefits, certain PTO levels, having them tell you back what is it that is most important to them with being a part of your organization. Is it the culture? Is it the lunch that you get to have each year around Christmas or the holidays? What is it that is really helping those employees to understand why they stay? And then incorporating that back into your job description. So I think I've even heard you talk on your podcast about it's not so much about listing all the duties that you have to do on a job, but what's the value? Oh, I get paid every Thursday? Awesome. I'm
Yeah.
going to make sure that I'm including getting paid every Thursday in my job description or a very high level, a very high in that large PDF of that job description. So it's really getting that feedback so you're not wasting your time using the same non-qualified or non-appetizing. Not, it's not great marketing. It's helping you to find those keywords, those key phrases that um, got you the people that you want and make sure that they're staying with you.
Mm. Yeah, this is well, one, Omar and I are honored that you've listened to our podcast.
Yeah.
It's very rare that we get to meet someone who actually
And a
listens and
shout
tunes in.
out to Mike Soto too, who is the one
Yeah,
who realized that instead of 10,
yeah,
these are the things I hated, so I fixed them all. I said, well, tell them that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
yeah.
good idea.